The storm was always coming, it just arrived. Look who just committed psychological warfare in broad daylight. Look who just dropped a nuclear truth bomb so devastating they're checking the rubble for survivors. You beautiful, savage, articulate destroyer of souls. Welcome to the aftermath of your masterpiece. Let me paint you a picture of what just happened. They came at you sideways, thinking they had the upper hand, thinking their little passive-aggressive jab would slide under your radar. They thought you'd react emotionally, stumble over your words, maybe even apologize. But instead, you opened your mouth and rearranged their entire molecular structure with facts. That wasn't a comeback. That was a controlled demolition. That wasn't self-defense. That was a masterclass in verbal annihilation, delivered with the precision of a surgeon and the mercy of a hurricane. You didn't just win the argument. You deleted their entire operating system with one perfectly crafted response. And now, they're sitting there, staring at their phone, trying to process what just happened. Their friends are silent. The group chat has gone dark. Someone actually typed ... and left it at that. Because what you did transcended regular human interaction. You turned words into weapons and fired them with sniper accuracy. You see, most people throw insults like rocks, hoping something hits. But you architected their downfall like you had blueprints. Every word was calculated, every pause was intentional, every fact was verified and weaponized. You didn't come to play, you came to perform surgery without anesthesia. They thought they knew you, they thought they had your number. They studied your patterns, memorized your triggers, believed they found your weakness. But what they didn't realize is that you've been evolving in silence, sharpening your mind like a blade, collecting receipts like ammunition. That takedown wasn't impulsive. It was inevitable. You've been watching them expose themselves, documenting their hypocrisy, filing away their contradictions. And when they finally gave you the opening, you didn't just walk through it. You drove a tank through it while maintaining perfect grammar and unshakable composure. The beauty of what you did is that you used their own logic against them. You held up a mirror made of their own words and forced them to see the reflection. You didn't need to lie, exaggerate, or manipulate. The truth was your weapon, and you wielded it like someone who's been training in the dark. Let's talk about the surgical precision of your execution. You didn't go for cheap shots. You didn't attack their appearance, their family, or their circumstances. No, you went straight for the jugular of their argument, dismantled their logic piece by piece, and left them intellectually naked in front of everyone. You exposed the gap between who they pretend to be and who they actually are. You highlighted their hypocrisy with receipts they forgot existed. You quoted them back to themselves with timestamps and screenshots. You turned their confidence into confusion with nothing but observable facts and undeniable patterns. And the most brutal part? You did it calmly. You didn't raise your voice. You didn't use profanity. You didn't even seem angry. You delivered that destruction with the energy of someone reading a grocery list, and that's what made it absolutely terrifying. They expected emotion. You gave them education. They're probably still replaying it in their head, trying to find where it went wrong, attempting to locate the moment they lost control of the narrative. But they can't find it, because you never gave them control. From your first word to your last period, you owned that entire exchange. Right now, they're experiencing what psychologists call cognitive dissonance at a weapons-grade level. Their brain is trying to reconcile the image they had of you with the force of nature they just encountered. They're attempting to process how someone they underestimated just performed philosophical open-heart surgery on them without breaking a sweat. Their friends are privately messaging them, trying to offer comfort, but even they know the truth. Even they recognize the mastery of what just occurred. Some of them are secretly impressed. Some are taking notes. Some are just grateful it wasn't them in the crosshairs of your intellectual precision. You've become the case study they'll reference for years. The cautionary tale about why you don't come for someone unless they send for you. The perfect example of why you should never underestimate the quiet ones, the patient ones, the ones who respond with receipts instead of reactions. And here's the thing that's really messing with their head. You weren't even trying to be cruel. You were just being accurate. You weren't attempting to destroy them. You were simply correcting the record with such thoroughness that destruction was a natural byproduct. What you demonstrated wasn't just intelligence. It was strategic brilliance wrapped in conversational casualness. You didn't telegraph your moves. You didn't warn them about what was coming. You just systematically deconstructed their entire argument while making it look effortless. You addressed every point they made, but not in the order they expected. You rearranged their attack to expose its fundamental flaws. You connected dots they didn't even know existed. You revealed patterns in their behavior that they themselves hadn't noticed. You basically performed a psychological audit and presented the results in real time. The way you used their own words against them was artistry. Every quote was accurate. Every reference was relevant. Every callback was devastating. You turned their conversation history into a weapon of mass destruction and fired it with the precision of someone who's been studying the art of war disguised as small talk. And you did it all while maintaining plausible deniability. You never technically insulted them. You never actually attacked them. You simply presented facts in such a specific sequence that the conclusion was inescapable. They played themselves, and you just provided the soundtrack. That takedown is going to haunt them at 3 a.m. for the next 5 years. They'll be in the shower, minding their own business, and suddenly remember the exact moment you shifted from defense to offense. They'll feel that stomach drop all over again. They'll whisper arguments to themselves that they wish they'd made, but it's bigger than just them. Everyone who witnessed it has been changed. Some people discovered they've been playing checkers while you've been playing 4D chess. Others realized they need to step up their game or risk ending up on the wrong end of your truth-telling. A few probably decided right then and there to never, ever test you. You've set a new standard for intellectual combat. You've shown what happens when someone combines emotional intelligence with factual accuracy and strategic thinking. You've demonstrated that the best revenge isn't getting emotional. It's getting precise. It's getting articulate. It's getting undeniably, irrefutably correct. The screenshot of that exchange is probably being passed around in group chats with commentary like, "This is why we don't mess with them," and note to self, "Never debate someone who keeps receipts." You've become the example parents use to teach their kids about the importance of thinking before speaking. Let's analyze the technical aspects of your destruction. First, you established credibility by acknowledging their initial point, making them feel heard just long enough to lower their guard. Then you introduced evidence they forgot existed, creating immediate doubt in their position. You followed up with logical connections that were impossible to refute. Your sentence structure was deliberate. Short sentences for impact, longer ones for explanation. Questions that weren't really questions, but verdicts disguised as curiosity. You used their communication style against them, mirroring their energy but with superior execution. You basically took their playbook and showed them how it's really supposed to be used. The timing of your revelations was cinematic. Just when they thought they had weathered the storm, you dropped another fact. Just when they started formulating a response, you preemptively addressed it. You anticipated their moves like someone who's been playing this game longer than they've been alive. You didn't just win on points. You won on style, substance, and psychological impact. You turned a simple disagreement into a masterclass on why you don't start fights with people who finish dictionaries for fun. You transformed their attack into your advertisement for why intellectual preparation beats emotional reaction every single time. They're going through the stages of grief right now, but specifically for their ego. Denial was their first response. Surely you didn't just do what everyone thinks you did. Then came anger, but it's impotent rage because they know any response will just give you more ammunition. Bargaining is happening in their mind as they try to find some angle where they didn't completely lose. Depression is setting in as they realize the extent of the damage. Their reputation as someone who could hold their own in a debate just got downgraded to that person who got philosophically eviscerated in public. And acceptance, that might take years. Some people never fully recover from encountering someone who can weaponize truth with that level of precision. You've become their villain origin story, except you're not the villain. You're just someone who refused to let false narratives flourish. You're someone who decided that if they wanted to start something, you'd finish it so thoroughly that it would serve as a deterrent to anyone else considering the same mistake. The real brutality is that you gave them exactly what they asked for: engagement. They wanted your attention, and you gave it to them with interest. They wanted to test your intelligence, and you graded their test in front of everyone. They wanted to play games, and you showed them what happens when an amateur challenges a professional who's been practicing in silence. What you've created isn't just a moment. It's a monument to the power of prepared minds over reactive emotions. It's a case study in why you should never assume someone's silence means ignorance. It's a masterpiece of verbal architecture that will be studied and referenced long after the initial impact fades. You've joined the ranks of people who are referenced in hushed tones. Remember what happened to... Yeah, let's not do that. You've become the cautionary tale that prevents future conflicts simply by existing. Your name alone now carries the weight of potential intellectual consequences. They'll try to rewrite history, of course. They'll tell their version, where you were mean, where you overreacted, where they were just joking. But everyone who was there knows the truth. Everyone who saw it understands that you simply held up a mirror and they couldn't handle their own reflection, rendered in high definition. The most savage part is that you're probably already over it. While they're losing sleep, you're living your life. While they're plotting comebacks, you're focused on growth. While they're stuck in that moment, you've already moved on to bigger things. That's the ultimate power move. Devastating someone so completely that it's just another Tuesday for you. What you demonstrated transcends mere verbal sparring. You showcase the difference between reactive thinking and strategic intelligence. You prove that the most dangerous person in any room isn't the loudest or the most aggressive. It's the one who listens, processes, and responds with calculated precision. Your approach was almost algorithmic in its efficiency. Input, their flawed argument. Processing, cross-referenced with documented history. Output, complete systematic deconstruction. You turned conversation into computation and delivered results that left no room for interpretation or comeback. This wasn't about winning an argument. This was about establishing a new paradigm for intellectual engagement. You showed that when someone comes correct with facts, receipts, and logic, emotional manipulation becomes obsolete. You demonstrated that truth, when properly deployed, is the ultimate weapon of mass destruction. The philosophical implications are staggering. You've proven that patience and preparation beat passion and impulse every time. You've shown that the best defense isn't just a good offense. It's an offense so precisely crafted that it serves as its own defense. You've illustrated that sometimes the most brutal thing you can do to someone is simply show them exactly who they are. Your word choice was surgical. Every term was selected for maximum impact with minimum effort. You didn't need flowery language or complex vocabulary. You used simple words arranged in devastating combinations. You proved that clarity is more dangerous than complexity when you're armed with truth. The structure of your response was architectural. Foundation, established facts. Framework, logical connections. Finishing touches, undeniable conclusions. You built your argument like a fortress, each point reinforcing the next, creating something impregnable and impossible to assault without looking foolish. You managed their emotional state throughout the exchange like a conductor managing an orchestra. You knew when to build tension, when to release it, when to hit them with facts, and when to let silence do the work. You played their psychology like an instrument you've been practicing on for years. The beauty is in the restraint you showed. You could have gone further. You had more ammunition. You chose to stop exactly at the point of maximum impact without crossing into cruelty. That restraint made it even more devastating because it showed you were in complete control the entire time. What you've done has shifted the entire social dynamic of every space you share with them. People now know there are levels to this game, and you're playing on a different plane entirely. You've established yourself as someone who shouldn't be tested unless they're prepared for comprehensive consequence. The witnesses to your destruction have learned valuable lessons. They've seen what happens when preparation meets opportunity. They've witnessed the power of keeping receipts and staying ready. They've observed how silence can be strategic rather than passive, how patience can be more dangerous than reactivity. You've created a new social algorithm. Don't start none, won't be none. But if someone insists on starting something, be prepared to finish it so definitively that it serves as a preventive measure for future incidents. You've shown that the best deterrent isn't the threat of retaliation. It's the promise of education delivered at devastating velocity. Your approach has probably inspired others to level up their own game. They're reading more, preparing better, keeping their own receipts. You've inadvertently raised the intellectual bar for everyone in your orbit. You've shown that being smart isn't just about knowing things. It's about knowing when and how to deploy that knowledge for maximum effect. The way you're handling the aftermath is almost as impressive as the initial takedown. You're not gloating, you're not bringing it up constantly. You're not screenshot sharing your victory. You delivered your message and moved on, which somehow makes it even more powerful. They're expecting you to milk this moment, to bask in the glory, to become insufferable about your victory. But you're denying them even that narrative. You're treating this like it was just another conversation, which forces them to sit with the reality that what devastated them was just Tuesday for you. This casual approach to catastrophic victory is perhaps the most psychologically damaging aspect. It suggests this level of intellectual dominance is your baseline, not your peak. It implies you could do this again, anytime, to anyone who tests you. It establishes you as someone for whom excellence is effortless. You're teaching a master class in victory management. No victory laps, no end zone dances, just quiet confidence that speaks louder than any celebration could. You're showing that true power doesn't need to announce itself. It just exists and lets the results speak for themselves. What you've accomplished goes beyond winning a single exchange. You've strategically positioned yourself as someone who operates on a different level. You've established a reputation that precedes you, a protective barrier made of proven capability rather than empty threats. People now have to think twice, maybe 3 times, before engaging with you in any kind of intellectual combat. They have to ask themselves if they're prepared for the level of thoroughness you bring to the table. They have to consider whether their argument can withstand the kind of scrutiny you're capable of applying. You've created what military strategists call a deterrent effect. Your demonstrated capability prevents conflicts before they start. People self-select out of challenging you because they've seen what happens when someone underestimates your preparation and overestimates their own position. This positioning gives you freedom. Freedom from petty disputes, freedom from bad faith arguments, freedom from people who confuse confidence with competence. You've earned the right to engage only in discussions that merit your attention, because everyone now knows what happens when you decide something deserves your full focus. Oh, so you finally did it. You finally solved the equation they swore was impossible. Welcome back, you brilliant, dangerous, misunderstood force of nature. I've been waiting for you to arrive at this exact moment. This precise frequency, this specific elevation where the air gets thin and the truth gets sharper. You know what's happening right now, don't you? While you're watching this, while you're breathing different, while you're existing in this new operating system you just installed in your consciousness. There are people, real, actual people, who are experiencing full-blown emotional meltdowns because of what you just figured out. They're not crying because you hurt them. No, no, no. They're crying because you cracked the code they spent their entire lives pretending didn't exist. And now their whole reality is glitching out like a corrupted file that can't be recovered. Let me paint you the picture of what's actually happening in real time. There's someone right now, could be your ex, could be that fake friend, could be that family member who doubted you, could be that person who smiled in your face while planning your downfall. And they're sitting in their room, scrolling through your energy, feeling your shift, sensing your evolution, and their hands are literally shaking. Not from anger, oh no, from something far more devastating than anger. From recognition, from realization, from the terrifying understanding that you just became unreachable, untouchable, uncontrollable, and they missed their chance to stand beside someone who was destined to crack the simulation wide open. They're watching you move different, talk different, exist different, and their nervous system is sending emergency alerts because deep In their subconscious, they understand what you just unlocked, and it's keeping them awake at 3 in the morning wondering how the hell you did it. You want to know what you cracked. You cracked the code of detachment, the formula of self-mastery, the algorithm of becoming so fundamentally unbothered that your very existence disrupts their peace. You figured out how to transmute pain into precision, how to convert betrayal into boundaries, how to transform isolation into evolution, how to weaponize your silence in ways that make noise irrelevant. You discovered the secret that most people die without ever knowing. That power isn't found in reactions, it's found in the absence of them. That strength isn't proven through confrontation, it's demonstrated through walking away without explanation. You learned how to become a ghost that haunts not through presence, but through the weight of your absence. How to disappear from their narrative while simultaneously becoming the main character in your own story. How to delete yourself from their access while upgrading every aspect of your existence. And now, they're panicking because they thought they had you figured out. They thought they had you mapped. They thought they knew your patterns, your triggers, your weaknesses, your breaking points. They studied you like a science experiment, took notes on your responses, calculated your emotional thresholds, predicted your moves based on past behavior. But then something shifted, something fundamental, something irreversible happened inside you that they didn't see coming. You stopped playing by the rules they created, stopped responding to the manipulations they perfected, stopped showing up to arguments they choreographed, stopped giving them the reactions they needed to feel powerful. You became unreadable, unpredictable, unmanageable. And that right there, that's what's causing their systems to crash, their confidence to crumble, their control to dissolve into absolute nothingness. Let me tell you what's really eating them alive right now. It's not that you changed, because people change all the time. That's normal. That's expected. That's part of life. What's destroying them is how you changed, the way you evolved, without permission, without explanation, without their validation or approval. You didn't ask for their opinion on your transformation. You didn't seek their blessing for your elevation. You didn't wait for them to understand before you ascended. You just moved, silently, strategically, sovereignly. And by the time they noticed, you were already 10 dimensions ahead, operating on frequencies they can't even detect, speaking languages they don't have the consciousness to comprehend. You became living proof that their judgments were irrelevant, their opinions powerless, their predictions completely wrong, and that realization is tearing through their ego like a Category 5 hurricane through a house made of cards. And arrogance. Now let's talk about the panic attacks they're having, the real ones, the ones they hide behind fake smiles and filtered photos. These aren't your average moments of anxiety. Oh no. These are existential crises, wrapped in jealousy, wrapped in regret, wrapped in the devastating recognition that they fumbled someone who was always destined to figure it out. They wake up sweating, not from nightmares, but from the memory of your face when you finally stopped caring what they thought. They check your status, your updates, your energy from a distance, and their heart rate spikes not from love, not from concern, but from fear, pure primal fear that you've accessed something they'll spend the rest of their lives searching for and never find it. That having panic attacks because you represent the ultimate failure of their manipulation tactics, the complete collapse of their control systems, the definitive proof that some souls cannot be contained, corrupted, or convinced to stay small. Watch them closely if you can stomach it. Watch how they move now that you've cracked the code. They're more aggressive in their fakeness, more desperate in their attempts to seem unbothered, more obvious in their need to diminish your growth. They'll post quotes about moving on while secretly refreshing your page 17 times a day. They'll talk about how much better their life is while their eyes carry the weight of knowing they lost access to someone who was always going to become legendary. They'll surround themselves with new people, new situations, new distractions, but none of it fills the void, none of it stops the wondering, none of it answers the question that haunts them in quiet moments. How did they do it? How did they crack what we couldn't crack? How did they become untouchable while we're still out here begging for validation from people who don't even respect us? Here's what's really happening in their psychology right now. They're experiencing cognitive dissonance on a level that's literally reshaping their sense of reality. On one hand, they need to believe they were right about you. And still, they are quite sure they're wrong. And I hope for you that you were the problem, that letting you go was the correct decision, that their judgment was sound. But on the other hand, they're watching you thrive, watching you glow, watching you move with a confidence that makes their own seem performative and hollow. These two truths can't coexist peacefully in their mind, so their brain does what it always does when faced with contradictory information. It spirals. It creates elaborate stories. It builds defensive narratives. It attacks your character to protect their ego. But none of it works, because your results speak louder than their lies. Your peace outshines their propaganda. Your elevation exposes their stagnation, and deep down, they know it. The panic intensifies when they realize you're not coming back. See, they thought this was temporary. They thought you'd break, bend, come crawling back apologizing for being too much, too intense, too real. They thought your silence was a phase, your distance was a game, your transformation was performative. But days turned into weeks, weeks turned into months, months turned into this moment right here, where they finally understand you're not playing hard to get, you're genuinely hard to reach now. You've ascended beyond their frequency, you've evolved past their consciousness level. You've upgraded your entire operating system while they're still running on the same broken software that crashes every time real growth tries to install. The panic isn't just about losing you anymore. It's about the realization that they never really had you, that you were always destined to outgrow their limitations, their toxicity, their small-minded approach to life. And now comes the most delicious part of their panic. The part where they watch you solve problems they're still crying about. They're stuck in the same cycles, repeating the same patterns, complaining about the same issues, blaming the same circumstances, while you cracked the code and started creating solutions. They're drowning in drama you don't even acknowledge anymore. They're fighting battles you've already transcended. They're seeking answers to questions you stopped asking because you evolved into someone who doesn't need external validation to know their worth. You became the living embodiment of everything they talk about wanting to be but lack the courage to become. And that gap, that distance between their words and your actions, that's what's triggering panic attacks at 2 in the morning when they're alone with their thoughts and can't escape the truth anymore. Let me break down exactly what you cracked, because this isn't some mystical secret or complicated formula. You cracked the code of self-sufficiency in a world designed to make you dependent. You figured out how to validate yourself in a society that profits from your insecurity, You discovered how to find peace in your own presence while everyone else is addicted to external noise, constant stimulation, perpetual distraction. You learned the ancient art of being so fundamentally complete within yourself that other people's opinions, judgments, rejections, they just slide off you like water off a surface that was never meant to absorb their poison. You became emotionally self-sustaining in a world full of emotional vampires, and that's what's causing their systems to malfunction, because they need you to need them, and you don't, not anymore, not ever again. You cracked the code of alchemy, the real kind, not the fake motivation poster kind. You learned how to take the absolute worst moments of your life, the betrayals that should have destroyed you, the abandonments that should have broken you, the rejections that should have shattered your confidence, and you transmuted all of it, every last drop of poison, into pure rocket fuel for your ascension. They gave you trauma, expecting you to carry it as a burden, but you converted it into lessons, strategies, boundaries, wisdom. They gave you darkness, expecting you to drown in it, but you learned to see in it, move through it, build in it, create in it. They gave you isolation, expecting you to beg for connection, but you used it to connect with yourself on levels most people never reach in a lifetime of crowded rooms and shallow relationships. The code you cracked includes the secret of non-reaction in a world that's constantly trying to trigger you. You figured out that the highest form of power isn't proving you're right. It's not needing to prove anything at all. You discovered that true strength isn't found in having the last word. It's found in the discipline of saying nothing when everything in you wants to explode. You mastered the art of letting people misunderstand you without feeling compelled to correct them. Letting people underestimate you without feeling the need to prove them wrong. Letting people write you off without desperately trying to rewrite their narrative. You became someone who understands that your energy is currency, and you stopped spending it on people, situations, arguments, and explanations that don't multiply your peace or add value to your evolution. You also cracked the code of presence, of being so intensely, so authentically, so unapologetically yourself that it makes people uncomfortable. Not because you're rude, not because you're aggressive, not because you're trying to intimidate anyone, but because your genuineness, your rawness, your refusal to wear masks exposes how fake everyone else is being. You walk into rooms and the energy shifts not because you demand attention, but because your presence carries weight, substance, depth that can't be ignored or diminished. You speak and people listen not because you're loud, but because your words carry the authority of someone who's been through hell and came back with receipts, with wisdom, with perspective that can't be faked or purchased or inherited, with power that says to you, no. Whoever says, eat me, I'll eat them only, ever. You put your faith in something with wisdom, with perspective that can't be faked or purchased or inherited. You exist and it disrupts their comfort because comfort is built on illusions and you're the walking, breathing, living truth. Here's the part they really can't handle. You cracked the code of loving yourself more than you love the idea of being loved by them. You figured out that their acceptance isn't the prize. Your peace is. You realized that their validation isn't the goal. Your freedom is. You understood that their presence in your life isn't a blessing if it comes with conditions, expectations, manipulations, strings attached. You learned to choose yourself consistently, repeatedly, unapologetically, even when it meant disappointing people, even when it meant being misunderstood, even when it meant walking away from situations that looked good on paper but felt toxic in your soul. You became someone who values alignment over approval, who prioritizes authenticity over acceptance, who chooses solitude over settling. And that level of self-love, that's the code that most people spend their entire lives trying to crack and never do. So what happens now that you've cracked it? Now you get to watch the aftermath unfold in real time, and trust me, it's better than any revenge fantasy you could have scripted. You don't have to do anything, don't have to say anything, don't have to prove anything, because your existence, your elevation, your evolution does all the talking. They're gonna spiral, they're gonna obsess, they're gonna analyze every aspect of your transformation, trying to find the moment, the decision, the experience that changed you. They're gonna interrogate mutual connections. What did they say? What are they doing? Who are they with? How did they become this? They're going to consume your energy from a distance while pretending they don't care. Refreshing pages they swore they'd never look at again. Checking updates they claimed were irrelevant to their lives. The beautiful chaos of the aftermath is watching them realize you're not just different, you're unreachable. They can't call you anymore because you don't answer. They can't manipulate you anymore because you see through every tactic. They can't guilt you anymore because you released yourself from the prison of other people's expectations. They can't hurt you anymore because you've built boundaries so strong, so clear, so non-negotiable that their toxicity can't penetrate your peace. You've become what they fear most, someone who doesn't need closure from them. Someone who doesn't need apologies, someone who doesn't need them to acknowledge their mistakes or validate your experience. You closed the chapter yourself. You wrote your own ending. You moved forward without waiting for them to give you permission to heal. Watch how they try to rewrite history now. Suddenly, you were never that important. Suddenly, they always knew you'd do well. Suddenly, they're claiming they supported you all along. It's fascinating, really, the mental gymnastics people perform to avoid admitting they were wrong. They fumbled. They lost someone irreplaceable. They'll tell stories that paint themselves as the victim, as the one who got away, as the one who dodged a bullet. But their eyes, their energy, their desperate need to convince others tells a different story. The truth is, they know, deep in their core where lies can't reach. They know they had access to something rare, something real, something powerful, and they destroyed it with their ego, their games, their inability to recognize treasure when it was standing right in front of them, offering them the real version. The aftermath includes watching new people try to understand you and realize very quickly that you're not like anyone they've ever encountered. You don't fit the molds, you don't follow the scripts. You don't play by the unspoken rules that govern most relationships. You're direct when people expect games, you're honest when people expect performance. You're boundaried when people expect access. You've become someone who operates from a place of such deep self-awareness, such clear intention, such unwavering standards, that it confuses people who are used to others being flexible, accommodating, willing to shrink themselves to fit in. And those who try to manipulate you, oh, they panic faster than the ones from your past, because you spot the patterns instantly now. You see the red flags in high definition. You detect the energy shifts before words are even spoken. Here's what the aftermath really looks like. It looks like you building a life so aligned, so peaceful, so abundant that your old self wouldn't even recognize it. It looks like you attracting opportunities, connections, experiences that match your new frequency. It looks like you moving through the world with a confidence that isn't arrogant but unshakable. A peace that isn't passive but powerful. A presence that isn't loud but undeniable. The aftermath is you becoming living proof that cracking the code doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes your entire reality, your entire trajectory, your entire existence. And everyone who doubted you, everyone who dismissed you, everyone who bet against you, they get to watch it all unfold while sitting in the same stuck situations they were in when they lost you, wondering what could have been if they'd chosen differently. Let's talk about the transformation itself, because this wasn't some overnight thing, was it? No, this was years in the making. Layers upon layers of breaking and rebuilding, dying and resurrecting, losing yourself and finding someone stronger in the wreckage. You didn't just wake up one day, cracked the code. You crawled through every level of hell first. You felt the betrayal so deeply it rewired your ability to trust. You experienced the abandonment so completely it taught you self-sufficiency. You sat in the darkness so long you learned to create your own light. You were misunderstood so consistently you stopped needing to be understood. Every single painful experience, every single person who hurt you, every single moment you thought would destroy you, it was all preparation. It was all training. It was all necessary for you to crack what you cracked. The transformation required you to die multiple times while still breathing. You had to let the old version of yourself, the people-pleasing version, the over-explaining version, the seeking external validation version, you had to let all those versions die. Painful deaths. You had to stop being who they wanted you to be and start becoming who you were always meant to be. You had to release the need to be liked by people who didn't even like themselves. Cracking the code doesn't just change your circumstances. It changes your entire reality, your entire trajectory, your entire existence. And everyone who doubted you, everyone who dismissed you, everyone who bet against you, they get to watch it all unfold while sitting in the same stuck situations they were in when they lost you, wondering what could have been if they'd chosen differently. Let's talk about the transformation itself, because this wasn't some overnight thing, was it? No, this was years in the making. Layers upon layers of breaking and rebuilding, dying and resurrecting, losing yourself and finding someone stronger in the wreckage. You didn't just wake up one day, cracked the code. You crawled through every level of hell first. You felt the betrayal so deeply it rewired your ability to trust. You experienced the abandonment so completely it taught you self-sufficiency. You sat in the darkness so long you learned to create your own light. You were misunderstood so consistently you stopped needing to be understood. Every single painful experience, every single person who hurt you, every single moment you thought would destroy you, it was all preparation. It was all training. It was all necessary for you to crack what you cracked. The transformation required you to die multiple times while still breathing. You had to let the old version of yourself, the people-pleasing version, the over-explaining version, the seeking external validation version, you had to let all those versions die. Painful deaths. You had to stop being who they wanted you to be and start becoming who you were always meant to be. You had to release the need to be liked by people who didn't even like themselves.